If a casual was scrolling over my channel this past week, they would swear I was just clickbaiting and regurgitating the same video over and over for views. But sadly, every one of these videos displays a new and different example of lies and manipulation from ESPN, FS1, and Klutch Sports Group to fabricate a false narrative and attempt to elevate the career of LeBron James and promote him to the masses as the GOAT. And every one of these videos shows a prime example of that and points out how they're lying. And this video here may be my magnum opus because I have irrefutable evidence how Colin Cowherd is lying. And ironically, it was after he teamed up with ESPN a few days ago that offered up said evidence. Buckle up, this is going to be a doozy. Okay, to present this evidence to the court, I have to take you back to a year ago. Now, stick with me here, I promise you, I'm going somewhere with this. If you remember in the summer of 2025, it had just been announced that Michael Jordan was coming back to NBC, right? Well, everyone, including myself, thought that Jordan would be a weekly studio analyst for the live games. There was all this hype and anticipation he was about to educate this current generation of NBA fans on the game, and that would expose LeBron as completely overrated. So the writing was on the wall, and Colin Cowherd is a businessman who started his own media company, The Volume, where he holds his own personal podcast, as well as Nick Wright and Draymond Green, Jason Timpf, and a few others. And Colin and every contributor from The Volume pushes the fake narrative that LeBron is better than Jordan.
Now, I have MJ over LeBron all time. My take for why I think LeBron is the GOAT.
LeBron James is better at basketball than anyone I've ever seen. Period, point blank. And when you say, what did Jordan do better? It's a good question.
Michael needed Scottie and Phil. LeBron just needs a ball. He won with a wing, he won with a point guard, he won with a big, he won with 4 different coaches. Is that Michael needed things to work, or he couldn't even get to the finals.
But of course, Colin knows that's cap. But Colin and Klutch Sports had an arrangement. Nothing legally binding, of course, but they had a mutual agreement to help the other prosper. Colin and his employees promote LeBron as the GOAT, and Klutch will elevate their platforms and make them stars on social media. That's why you've seen the sudden rise of Shannon Sharpe, Colin Cowherd, and Nick Wright after they got to FS1 in 2016 and started pumping LeBron over Jordan. Now, because Colin doesn't have a legally binding contract with Klutch, and their arrangement is under the table, Colin can always shift his take at any point he feels it's no longer beneficial for the Volume. And as I pointed out on a previous video, Colin has absolutely no loyalty. He follows the money. The only thing he cares about is turning the Volume into an empire. Colin's that guy in the Mafia movie that gets whacked for switching sides, as I'm about to show you that he's done multiple times in the past year. Alright, lock in because I'm about to connect these dots and it is going to be glorious. So in the summer of 2025, when Jordan was announced to join NBC, LeBron had just finished his 22nd season and his NBA career was winding down. So Colin Cowherd, being the entrepreneur that he is, made the business decision to hop off the LeBron wagon and try to align himself up with Michael Jordan, even though he spent the last decade throwing shade at Jordan every chance he got.
Going to baseball like MJ. Couldn't win without Pippen.
As I said, Colin follows the money, and there was much anticipation overflowing about Michael Jordan joining NBC. So before I expose the lies on the video Colin made covering the ESPN article this week, I need to build a baseline of Colin's patterns so you'll see just how egregious that video really was. Look at how he totally flipped his position on LeBron and Jordan last summer.
Do players talk about the GOAT conversation, MJ and LeBron?
Oh, all the time. I mean, I literally have this conversation after every game that the Lakers play or if we're watching The Last Dance. And it's definitely in the locker room. I think a lot of guys that are playing in our game right now, current players, will say that LeBron's the best. Obviously, the friends I have are all in their, late 20s, early 30s, so we all agree. But there's always that one friend or that one guy in the locker room that will say Jordan. And it's kind of crazy that some guys will say Jordan.
MJ's always been more popular. That's not even disputable. And I would say about 75 to 80% of the people think MJ's the GOAT, not LeBron.
Always that one friend or that one guy in the locker room that will say Jordan.
75 to 80% of the people think MJ's the GOAT, not LeBron. Well, and I also think LeBron did something. LeBron decided this year, I'm going to lead the league in assists. I've always said LeBron's got a lot of Wilt in him. Wilt did that at one point in his career. He said, I'm going to lead the league in assists, and Wilt led the league in assists. Is that Wilt could have done, Wilt was a little bit of a flake, LeBron's not. But he's done something recently. I saw yesterday where he picked up his $52.6 million Laker option. And in the press release, well, LeBron wants to win titles. Well, then you can't pick up the option. You can't play for $52 million. It's a hard cap now. No owner's going to blow through it. Wilt was a little bit of a flake. LeBron's not. So, first of all, he got into that silly ring debate about 2 weeks ago where he talked about something that he didn't truly believe, which is the ring culture. It's overemphasized. Wilt was a little bit of a flake. LeBron's not. And then a piece of video emerged of LeBron saying after he won in Cleveland, hey, that ring, I think, make me the greatest of all time. Well, I thought the ring culture's overemphasized. Rings matter to everybody, including LeBron, and he knows it. Wilt was a little bit of a flake. LeBron's not. Wilt and LeBron are really the only players in my life who could just decide, oh, we're forwards and centers. We want to be the best passer in the league. And Michael couldn't do that. He's not as popular as MJ. The numbers we remember about Michael are 6 for 6. And Michael couldn't do that. And Michael is considered the GOAT by a lot of people, including some notable people like a Phil Jackson. And that's just the reality of it. And Michael couldn't do that. Michael needed Scottie and Phil. LeBron just needs a ball. He won with a wing, he won with a point guard, he won with a big, he won with 4 different coaches. Is that Michael needed things to work, or he couldn't even get to the finals. LeBron doesn't need anything. Who's the best ever? I don't really care. They're different players totally. Kobe was more Michael. LeBron's more Magic. I don't care. In the Michael Jordan-LeBron debate, here's 3 things you can no longer argue because they're like facts and stuff. LeBron's going to take his 5th head coach to the finals. Michael could never take a 2nd head coach to the finals. Who's the best ever? I don't really care. They're different players totally. LeBron's going to take his 3rd team, 3rd franchise to the finals. Michael Jordan couldn't win half his games with his 2nd team. Who's the best ever? I don't really care. They're different players totally.
Can I throw this in? This is engineered by Michael, who remains a grudge holder and incredibly petty. And the reason he okayed use of certain footage to ESPN, because after LeBron beat the Warriors, there were real discussions that LeBron's better than MJ.
He okayed it the
MJ
next day.
Suddenly.
He okayed it the day after the parade.
Yep.
Who's the best ever? I don't really care. They're different players totally.
And now, as LeBron gets ready to set the record, this is not coincidental. Michael is petty. He's a grudge holder. He still holds a grudge to Isaiah Thomas. Who the F cares anymore about
Charles
that?
Barkley, who used to be his best friend.
This seems more like a Lifetime podcast between a couple of gossiping women.
Michael is petty. He's a grudge holder.
Who used to be his best friend.
Nick looks like he's about to cry. Their podcast should be called Tissues. Ladies, can you handle all this masculinity?
There have been moments where I feel like LeBron's not being totally honest with us, like the whole ring culture argument. It's like LeBron, Wilt was a little bit of a flake. LeBron's not. LeBron's not being totally honest with us. Wilt was a little bit of a flake. LeBron's not. Also, you can't tell me it's about winning when you take the max. Wilt was a little bit of a flake. LeBron's not. He's had a great career. He should not be dictating any terms at this point. Michael's much more popular. His shoes still leading sellers. They're like collector's items, and they still sell. And so the reality is that debate was silly. It was projection. Michael needed Scottie and Phil. LeBron just needs a ball. And so the reality is that debate was silly. It was projection. He won with a wing. He won with a point guard. He won with a big. He won with 4 different coaches. Is that Michael needed things to work, or he couldn't even get to the finals. LeBron doesn't need anything. That debate was silly. It was projection. And so you're going to have to pay LeBron, and he's opting in for $52.6 million. So, again, what is it? Are you about winning? Because I've seen Ohtani take pay cuts, and Josh Allen and Tom Brady and Tim Duncan and Jalen Brunson. That's about winning. Tom did it for winning. He was the best quarterback in the world, and he kept taking pay cuts. LeBron's about winning. Nah, Brady was about winning.
So you saw the way Colin flipped a year ago with all the Michael Jordan hype. But then once the NBA season started, we were all disappointed to learn Jordan was not actually a studio analyst reacting to live games, but instead merely gave an extended interview to NBC to be chopped up and used for NBA on NBC segments throughout the season. So once we realized Jordan wasn't going to be an actual studio analyst like we thought, all the Michael Jordan hype died down, and then Colin flipped back to LeBron and Klutch, which is where he is now, summer of 2026, capping harder than ever for LeBron.
So Ramona Shelburne is a great reporter that covers the NBA and a lot of Lakers stuff. And so she has a really interesting story today. And I'm just going to give you the two things, two biggest things to put my arms around here to simplify it, because I strongly encourage you to go read it. She says about LeBron and the Lakers.
Now, Ramona wrote this article early July 2026 all about how LeBron left the Lakers because they didn't appreciate him, etc. And you'll see Colin agreeing with everything she wrote. But after we see his take here, we're going to revisit another segment he did just a short year ago, summer of 2025. And you'll see what a huge liar and fraud this guy is, who has clearly traded his journalistic credibility for a few shekels. Enjoy the show.
He might have been willing to take a pay cut from $52.5 million he'd made the season before, sources told Ramona, if the Lakers explained how they planned on relocating the money. Okay. The second thing, it was the final year of an 8-year marriage that was often transactional and cold. And I think Ramona nailed it. We talked about this. Maybe I'm saying that because I agree with her, but I said this last week. This was not a love affair. It was transactional. It never felt like Kobe. It never felt like Worthy. It never felt like Michael Cooper. It never felt like, it was a transactional relationship. And LeBron sort of aged out of the Lakers' plans. And LeBron has always loved that movie, The Godfather. He acknowledged it's his favorite movie or one of his favorite movies. You know, in The Godfather, we all know this, is, people pay their respects to you, right? And if indeed you do leave Cleveland twice or you do leave Miami, hey, it's nothing personal. It's just business, right? It's just business. Well, that's what the Lakers said. It's nothing personal. This was always transactional. You didn't feel like a founder. You were more of a consultant. And the Lakers moved on. So, and, the interesting part of this is when Ramona reports, according to her sources, that LeBron was willing to take a pay cut, but LeBron wanted to see how the money was being spent. And the Lakers are like, we're not going through you anymore. We're going to spend it how we want to spend it. And LeBron took that as things have changed. But my question was always, do the Lakers have the courage to move off LeBron? Because LeBron's people were like, okay, I'll take the cut. What are you doing with it? And that may have worked 5 years ago. But now it was, no, we're not going to ask you for permission to make moves on Walker Kessler. We like him. We're buying him. So this always felt like LeBron and the Lakers were creating an alliance. Two great houses, right? And now one is on its way to do something else. I still think it's...
And now the moment you've all been waiting for. You just heard him agreeing with Ramona's article how LeBron was mistreated by LA.
It was the final year of an 8-year marriage that was often transactional and cold. And I think Ramona nailed it.
But rewind what he said summer of 2025 when all the hype was on Jordan going to NBC in the fall. So he wanted to disassociate from LeBron because he was hoping to possibly land an interview with Michael Jordan to help elevate his media company to volume. This guy is a user and a sellout with absolutely no journalistic integrity.
And LeBron's never been loyal to teams. This is not a Derek Jeter situation. This is not Magic or Kobe. LeBron's easier to move off. It's been a mutually beneficial relationship. His net worth has almost doubled since he came to LA. He came to LA for basketball, 60%, and business, 40%. I mean, he kept the thing, by about year 2. His net worth is almost doubled. Net worth. He's expensive. He's not always available. He's not the player he once was. Lakers are so bad defensively, and statistically, they're worse when he's on the floor. So I've said it forever. Really, really confident, successful men are bad at exits. They've all got a great pickup line, but won't pick up the phone when they break up. That's what successful, confident men do. LeBron's been great for the game. There's a little LeBron fatigue around the league. I get it. But this new ownership group, they have no loyalty to him. In fact, remember when Bob Myers left the Warriors as GM and many speculated he just didn't want to trade? He didn't want to trade Klay Thompson. I think Jeannie Buss knew deep down she didn't want to move off LeBron. She didn't feel comfortable with it. It's easy for the Dodgers people, too. They're the smartest guys in town. The other thing is, look under the hood. The Lakers are a mirage. They're 26-16. But 15 of their 16 losses, they've gotten blown out. They're great in clutch games because they have a really smart head coach, but they're not in that many clutch games. They're horrible defensively. It's a 3-and-D league, and they don't have enough of either. No rim protection, not very athletic. This is a Luka, J.J. Redick, and maybe Austin Reeves franchise going forward. So it's actually easy, or I should say easier, to move off people who have been highly mobile, right? Like LeBron's bounced around the league. He's been the ultimate opportunist, and I totally defend him on that. He has been front and center of the player empowerment era. But now, these days, if you don't consider moving, people look at you and go, are you crazy? That's because of LeBron. But it's easier to move off somebody that's moved off multiple teams. LeBron is a businessman at this point first. And a basketball player, I know, keep the thing. But for his entire career, he's a basketball guy that did business. LeBron now is kind of a business guy who's still pretty good at basketball. But moving off him is not difficult. The agent's talking, but they're a worse team defensively when he's on the floor. He's not always available. You can be a credit to the game, and it can be time. But part of me thinks the Lakers sold this because the discomfort of the LeBron exit. LeBron's exit, he's been exiting his entire career. He exited from Cleveland, his hometown, twice. Pat Riley. And remember, when he chose the Lakers, they stunk. He didn't choose the best basketball team. He chose the best economy in the country, Los Angeles. That's what he chose first. This was not a good operation. He could have gone to 4 other teams when he was closer to his prime. And he's still good. But it's not a criticism. I can think 2 things. All-time great, unbelievable asset to the league. Totally defend his opportunistic business ventures and moves and mobility. Totally defend it. Think it's great for players. Smart dude with a smart circle. And I can also think it's time to move on.
And here's another video from last summer where Colin is really brutally honest.
Lakers reportedly preserving cap space for next season. LeBron James has no influence on free agency moves, says an NBA front office insider. The Lakers are excluding him. They should. He's 41. So the new owners, they know what success is all about. These people know what they're doing. They let stars go if they see problems around the corner. And so this morning, it appears they're going big game hunting next year. They do not think this is a championship team. They're not going to lose any sleep over LeBron being bummed out. The Lakers got throttled in the first round. They lost convincingly in the first round. The new Laker owners are telling you, we know what titles looks like. And an aging LeBron and a finally working out in the offseason Luka is not Ohtani, Betts, and Freddie Freeman. You got to be honest. You have to be able to self-evaluate. This is not a championship team. Look what Denver's done in the last 24 hours. Big game hunting next year, not including LeBron in the discussions. He's had a great career. He should not be dictating any terms at this point. We're going to do what we're going to do because we know what winning looks like. It's Ohtani and Bet, not 41-year-old LeBron. But I do think it's interesting. The two things that jump out to me, LeBron's not being included at all. I do think the Buss family felt like because of the COVID title and the merchandise sales, they sort of owed LeBron something, a heads up. That's done. What's the message to LeBron? It's, bro, we're not a championship team. That's what the ownership is saying to me. We are going to figure out scouting, upstairs, executives, roster. Next year's the big year.
Yeah, and
you've had a great run, but we're not going to include you as we build going forward.
Let's not write the Lakers off just yet.
Well, remember, things do happen, especially to 41-year-olds in their 23rd year.
Also that.
You think LeBron's going to play 80 games in 42 minutes?
It's not over. I'm not writing them off. Anything can happen here in the next 3-4 days. Let's go out and get some guys and get the Lakers back in contention where LeBron needs to be.
This feels like old school Colin Cowherd back when he was on ESPN and was just brutally honest before he bent the knee to LeBron and Klutch Sports. You can tell these are not the same two people. One is honest.
He's had a great career. He should not be dictating any terms at this point.
And the other is a sellout.
It was the final year of an 8-year marriage that was often transactional and cold. And I think Ramona nailed it. So I've said it forever. Really, really confident, successful men are bad at exits. They've all got a great pickup line, but won't pick up the phone when they break up. That's what successful, confident men do. That's what successful, confident men do.